Hello, welcome to Math 1324. This is Chapter 10, Section 1, Example 2. In this example, we want to determine whether the correspondence is a function. Now, the word correspondence is kind of a word that we saw in Example 1 here, and correspondence just means between some domain and some range, this is what's happening. So with this on the domain, any number you see in the domain, if there's a tail to head for the arrow here, so tail for the arrow, head for the arrow, this is pointing you to some number in the range. And so what that's telling us is that if we were to write this down in coordinate form using set notation, I'd have a set and then some coordinates. So the coordinates here would be the numbers 17, 20. 17 is the independent value, 20 is the dependent value. So it'd be 17, 20. Then of course we would have 8, 12. And then of course we would have the coordinate 19, 20. And that's what this would look like in set notation. These two are equivalent to each other. This is a correspondence, and this is just a set of coordinates, but they mean the same thing. Okay, so in here we want to talk about, is this a function? This is a relation guaranteed because we have some correspondence from domains to ranges. Okay, so is it a function? Remember, a function is simply a relation where each independent value corresponds to exactly one dependent value. In other words, none of the x's repeat themselves. To see that when we're looking at this in this form, notice that each one of these independent values in the domain here has only one arrow coming out of it. So each one of these corresponds to exactly one value in the range. And so the answer here is yes. Another way of looking at that would say, looking at the x values, do any of the x values repeat themselves? Well, no, they don't. Now, if we were to see something like this and you might be wondering, how do you know if it's not one? Well, let's look at it this way. What if this 17 had another arrow coming towards that 12? Notice that the 17 would then correspond to both the 20 and the 12 at the same time, so that 17 is corresponding to two different values. And we would actually need to include another coordinate here, 17, 12, and notice that the 17 at that point would then repeat itself. This is why, if you have this extra arrow here, then the answer would be no. We don't have that, so that's not actually a problem. Alrighty, well, believe it or not, that's all there is to this question. I'll see you in the next video. Have fun.